quite a well-loved book. It has over 800 reviews in various sites like Amazon's and Bookreads and Smashwords and Goodreads and many different book lovers be there to buy or to read reviews. You can look at that and check that out yourself. The story begins in Glasgow, Scotland, June 1st, 1950. The rain drizzling down the windows of the taxi shrouded the riders inside. Kathy MacDonald, the sole passenger, leaned her head against the misted window. She was bound for St. Andrew's Infirmary to deliver yet another wean. Her fingers dug into her seat as she adjusted her bulky body. No position seemed to bring relief to her discomfort. She let her head fall forward onto the back of the driver's seat. Does he have to hit every bloody stone in the road? She muttered under her breath as the taxi bumped along. Don't you worry, missus. I get you there in time. The rough sandpaper voice of the taxi driver startled her, and she wondered if he had heard her question. I know all about how fast those wains want you. Got 6 bairns of my own, he laughed loudly. Your man's Jimmy MacDonald, right? He inquired. Her talking only irritated him, but not wanting to appear unfriendly, she tried to focus on what he had asked. Her response came as a muffled sound that could have been an answer or a retreat from the question. She caught him peeking a glance at her in the rear view mirror. She braced herself for the next question, knowing what it would be. You Mr. B's daughter? The driver, along with so many others in Glasgow, deeply respected Willie Buchanan, or Mr. B, as he had been known for as far back as anyone could remember. Mr. B had earned a reputation for being a fair man. Years ago, he had rallied a group of well-off citizens to provide funds to support youth soccer teams for the town's underprivileged children. He had insisted that the money be shared equally between Catholic and Protestant teams, an unusual act, since prejudice between the two religious groups was still very intense in Scotland. Although some people protested, most citizens supported his efforts. The taxi swerved sharply to avoid a pile of building rubble. Kathy moaned in protest, which made the driver wish her husband was there to help with the situation. Where's Jimmy? He asked. Working, she replied, her voice barely a whisper. She fell away from the driver's seat and closed her eyes. If Jimmy hadn't been so worried about getting to a second job, he could have been with me, Kathy thought. She moved her hands over her belly and whispered hoarsely, Wait, wee one, just a bit longer. It was 8 o'clock at night by the time they arrived at St. Andrew's. Kathy opened the door and paused a moment to breathe in the cool air before struggling to get out. She stood, swaying, momentarily mesmerized by the silhouette of the full moon in the sky. It would not illuminate the night for a few more hours when spring's late twilight would drop into darkness. Rain clouds moved, blanketing the moon. To Kathy, the light and dark of the Scottish sky was like the passing of time. Gently caressing her belly, she thought of a time long ago when she had stood on a hilltop, surrounded by the celestial beauty of the Scottish Highlands. The gibbous moon had hung high in the northern skies as she drew down its power and made a wish for the future. She shuddered now, remembering how a force of energy had surged through her body when she had uttered that wish. Exhilarated by the rush of energy, she had mistakenly thought Her desire had been granted. Now, in sadness, Kathy looked away before seeing that the clouds were once again revealing the moon. She hesitated for a moment before walking up the steps to St. Andrew's. She reflected on her last 5 visits to deliver her babies there. She hoped this birth would be easier. Her legs shook as the life within her pressed downward, reminding her of her reason for being there.